Bear with me. A lot of these early videos are going to be rough and dirty until I get an editor. But I wanted to make my first bit of content on something that has been stuck in my head for a little while. I've re-recorded this video a few times already, but I'm trying to make it more succinct. This is a person, a farmer who voted for Trump. He made a string of videos saying that he was going to lose his farm because the government reneged on their deal. And it led to a greater conversation with a bunch of people. And at one point, he made a video saying that he didn't know that Project 2025 was actually on the agenda, and that, to the best of his knowledge, that wasn't the case, and that we should come together, we should work together. He doesn't understand why it's part of the issue, anyway, that people fight against people instead of it's people joining up against politicians. And I want to emphasize one thing very quickly before I get to my point, is that I don't want to pile on with this particular person, so I'm not tagging them directly or mentioning them by name, because I'm a little late to this party. I'm pretty sure people have talked this to death with him. And if there was good discourse, if there was honest discussion there, I don't want to impede that by showing up to kick him in the shins a week later. But my key point here, with the people versus politicians thing, I'll give you an analogy. You ever hear that funny, sometimes mentioned in passing meme statement where it's like you get put on the group project, do nothing, and get an A, that sort of thing. Well, here is actually a more accurate depiction of what's going on. You, the voter who now regrets their vote, you were in the group project. You did no work because you didn't do any research. You didn't look anything up. You didn't supply anybody any additional information. But you probably did argue with the people who did. You probably did stand in the way of progress on the project because you had thoughts and were told other things. And then on the day of the presentation for the project, you stood in front of all of your other group members, bombed the project because, again, you didn't put in any work, you didn't do any research. And then when everyone was handed a failing grade, you turned around and said, well, we should come together. We should try to, fix this. And, we need to really, make the most of this. And I just have one question for you. Why should we trust you? Because that's what this ultimately comes down to. Why should we trust you? See, when the chips were down and things mattered, it was real easy to plug your ears and just go with whatever you felt like. But now that you are personally feeling the effects, which, by the way, you were totally content with other people feeling, but not you. But now that you're feeling the effect, suddenly it's got to be about togetherness when you were totally prepared to throw everyone else under the bus first. And even if we could forgive that, which, frustrating, but let's say we could forgive it. How do we know that you just won't do the same thing next time? How do we know that you're not just going to take this opportunity to remove these guys, but then put the next set of assholes in there? And for somebody like me who cares about understanding why things occur, if you don't have a good criteria for figuring out who's full of shit and who isn't, I can't trust your judgment to lead to a better future, because you already thought this guy was an idiot, or was the correct guy for the job, despite him being an idiot. And we have already seen him once. So here I am, hearing this sob story about coming together and wanting to work together. That may happen. We may not have a choice. We may have to work together. But I want you to understand, none of us who voted for Kamala wanted any of this to happen, and we all knew it was going to happen. So why didn't you? How could you in the future do better to make sure that you do know? How can we trust you to put in the work? How can we trust you to give a shit about people who disagree with you? Because right now, I'm not feeling any of that. What I'm feeling is you wanting to get out of the consequences of your actions, wanting people to just brush it under the rug for your convenience. Nothing has to be learned. We just band together to fix the problem now, and then you can put the next red asshole in there who's going to try the same shit in a different flavor. So you tell me, why is it always people against people and not people against politicians?